All right, so let's get right into it. There is this absolutely massive kind of tectonic shift happening, behind the curtain of American real estate. And no, it's not about interest rates or crazy housing prices. This is something that could literally change the entire industry from the ground up. We're talking about something called the Great MLS Consolidation.
And just to give you a sense of the scale here, it's kind of wild. Since 2015, almost half of all the MLSs in the entire country have just disappeared. Poof, gone. They've either merged, been bought up, or just dissolved. And the folks in the know, they're saying this is just the beginning.
Okay, so before we dive into why this is all happening, we got to make sure we're all on the same page, right? So what even is an MLS? Because understanding this is key to, well, understanding everything else we're about to talk about. So, to put it simply, an MLS, that's a multiple listing service, it's basically a giant shared database. Think of it as the central nervous system for real estate. It's a system that lets brokers see each other's listings, share all that crucial info, and work together on sales. It is, and I mean this, the absolute backbone of how homes are bought and sold in the US.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at this vanishing act of the MLSs. Then we'll get into the why, what's driving this consolidation. After that, we'll tackle the really big, controversial idea, a single national MLS. Then we'll flip it and look at the case for competition. And finally, we'll try to answer the million-dollar question, what's the right number?
So let's kick things off with the trend itself. I mean, we just saw that staggering number, right? The number of these MLSs is shrinking. And it's shrinking fast. You have to imagine, it used to be this landscape of like over 1,000 super local organizations. Now it's just contracting like crazy, and everyone agrees this isn't slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up.
So, why? What is going on here? What's the big push? Well, it really boils down to one word: efficiency. I mean, think about it. If you're a real estate broker working across different towns or counties, the current system can be a total nightmare.
And Matt Consalvo really hits the nail on the head here. He says if I've logged into 9 MLSs, that means I have 9 different rule sets. It gets hard, fast. Just imagine that for a second. 9 different logins, 9 different sets of rules, 9 different ways of doing things, all just to do your job. It's complicated, it's repetitive, and it's just so inefficient.
So, at the end of the day, that's what's driving all this. The main goal here is to just make the market work better for the people who are in the trenches every single day. It's all about simplifying things, cutting out all that duplicate effort, and just building a much smoother, more streamlined system for brokers.
Okay, so this whole push for simplicity, it naturally leads to the biggest, most controversial idea in this entire debate, the nuclear option, if you will. Should there just be one single national MLS for the entire country?
And one of the biggest proponents of this idea is Robert Refkin, the CEO of Compass. His take is that the brokerages themselves should band together and create a common national MLS that works for everybody, coast to coast. I mean, it's a super bold vision, right? The ultimate dream of efficiency.
But not so fast. Because on the flip side, you've got people like Deanna Hall who are basically saying, whoa, pump the brakes. She points out that while it sounds like a great idea, the reality of actually trying to run one single system for the whole country would be, and I quote, a logistical nightmare. And it makes sense, right? Florida real estate is nothing like Alaska real estate. The rules are just totally different.
And this whole logistical headache, it really feeds into the main argument against having just one big MLS. It's not just about can we physically do it, it's about a core belief in something else, competition.
Justin Haig from Northwest MLS puts it perfectly. He says, competition among MLSs is important. It drives innovation. It makes everybody better. See, his whole point is that when you have a bunch of different MLSs, they have to compete for business. And that competition, that's what pushes them to innovate, to offer better service, to build better tech for their agents.
And he drives the point home with this really great analogy. He says having just one MLS would be like having only one real estate brokerage for the entire country. Can you imagine? Almost everyone would agree that a monopoly like that would just kill innovation and would probably end up being pretty bad for the consumer. So, there you have it. That's the great debate in a nutshell. On one side, you've got this dream of one big system, the promise of ultimate efficiency, simple rules, one-stop shopping for brokers. But on the other side, you've got the power of many, the idea that competition is what drives us forward, that it allows for local differences, and crucially, that it prevents a single massive monopoly.
All right, so this brings us to the final and maybe the most fascinating part of this whole thing. Pretty much everyone agrees that the current number, somewhere around 500 MLSs, is way too high. But here's the kicker. Absolutely nobody can agree on what the right number should be.
I mean, you ask the experts, and the answers are just all over the place. Matt Consalvo says, yeah, under 200. Art Carter thinks it should be more like 50 or 60. Then Anne-Marie Descottier comes in with, I don't know, maybe 25? And then you have Justin Hogg, who's basically like, I don't know the number, but I know it ain't one. It's just the industry is totally divided on where this train is supposed to stop.
So what's the bottom line here? It's pretty simple, actually. The consolidation isn't stopping. That number is going to keep dropping. More MLSs are going to disappear. But what the final map of this whole thing looks like, honestly, it's anyone's guess.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really big question to think about. As these systems get bigger and fewer, a very small number of organizations will control a massive amount of the industry's data and its rules. And this isn't just some inside baseball debate. This has real-world implications for all of us. Who gets to decide what you see when you're searching for a house online? Who's going to be setting the rules of the game for buyers, for sellers, for everyone? That is the real billion-dollar question at the heart of all this consolidation.